Welcome students, I am Dr. James D'Souza, Assistant Professor, St. Xavier's College, Uppsala. Today's program is for Bachelor of Science, third year, subject Botany, semester 6, course code BOD105, course title Nursery and Garden Techniques. Title of the unit Vegetative Propagation, module name Methods of Vegetative Propagation, Layering, Grafting and Budding. In this module, students will learn what is vegetative propagation. They will also learn various methods of vegetative propagation. At the end of this module, students will be able to explain vegetative propagation. They will be able to describe techniques of grafting, layering and budding. Coming to introduction, what is vegetative propagation? It is a sexual method of plant reproduction which mostly occur in leaves, root and stem. Now what is propagation? It is a process of increasing number of plants of a particular species or cultivar. These occur through fragmentation and regeneration of specific vegetative parts. Now, fragmentation is another asexual method wherein plants have small fragments and each fragment has capacity to develop into new plant. Over the years, horticulturists have developed a sexual method using various vegetative plant parts. Now, vegetative propagation is classified in two broad categories. One, natural vegetative propagation, 2. Artificial vegetative propagation. Now we will see what is natural vegetative propagation. These occur when plants grow and develop naturally without any human interference. Natural vegetative propagation can be enabled by development of adventitious roots. This method of plant reproduction which occur in leaves, root and stem of a parent plant. The vegetative plant structure arising from the stems are known as rhizome, bulbs, runners, tubers, etc. Coming to artificial propagation, this type is mostly done in fields and laboratories by humans. The most common types are cutting, grafting, layering and budding. Now in this module we will be discussing of grafting, layering and budding. Now we will see what is grafting. Now this is a technique of joining two living parts from different plants together in such a manner that they will unite and contribute to grow as one plant. Here, cutting from some other plant, that is a scion or a shoot stalk, is attached to the plant part or the root system, or we call it as a stalk, which remain rooted in the ground. After a certain period, like 4 to 6 weeks, it get united and forms into new individual plant. Now the produce or the yield, what we get from such plant, it is due to the characteristics from scion part, whereas stalk or the root portion serve only as a ground support. Now, this method is commonly used for plant species such as apple, mango, cashew and avocado. There are different types of grafting. We have splice approach grafting, whip or tongue grafting, side grafting, cleft or wedge grafting, etc. Now we will see one example of wedge grafting. Now if you look at this picture, you can see both part. That is scion is a shoot which is taken from another plant which has desired characters, and stalk is the rooted portion of the plant. Now in this case, wedge form cut is given at the base of scion, and on the stalk, that is root part, a vertical slit is given, and this wedge form cut is directly inserted in the stalk portion. Later, it is tied with grafting tape. Care should be taken to keep this portion moist. After 6 to 8 weeks, plant is ready. We can call that plant as an individual plant. Apart from this, other methods are splice approach grafting. Now, in this splice approach grafting, both scion and stalk is of same diameter. They are placed at close to each other horizontally, and the meeting point, both the barks of that rootstock and scion is and removed and tape is tied around it. Again, after 6 to 8 weeks, plant is ready. Okay. Now, this type of grafting is mostly done where there is high rainfall, where there is drainage problem. Water doesn't drain properly, so that there we follow this splice approach grafting. Other method is side grafting. Now, in this, we give for scion, at the base of scion, we give long cut, and similar cut we give to the stalk in tongue shape, and we join them. While joining, with care need to be taken that cambium of both rootstock and shoot, that is scion stalk, is matching, and then it is tied with the tape, and after 6 to 8 weeks, new plant can be formed. Next method is layering. Now, layering, your stem of plant is bent to the ground and covered with the soil. After some days, adventitious root emerge from the plant part which is covered with the soil. The attached stem with developing root is known as a layer. Now, this method is commonly used for plant species such as breadfruit, chiku, and guava. There are several types of layering: simple layering, tip layering, and air layering. First, we will see what is simple layering. Now, this is mostly done in early spring. Now, to perform this, what we have to do, we have to select a stem of 2 years old, and we need to bend it on the ground, and we need to cover it with the soil, and new shoot emerge from the portion. The next type is compound layering. Now, this is similar to simple layering. Only difference is more than one point it is buried in the soil. So, wherever point buried, you will get new plantlet at a stretch. Sometimes this compound layering is also called as serpentine layering. Now, this type of method is commonly used for plant species such as clematis, grapes, philodendron. Third type is tip layering. It is mostly used for berries, caneberries, strawberries, raspberries, purple and blackberries. Now, in this method, tip of the plant is covered with the soil. Now, this tip gives rise to new shoot, which later on develop into new plantlets. Next, we have air layering. Now, this is used on the tree branches and other elevated stem where you cannot bend the stem to the ground level. Only for such kind of plant, this is done. Now, in this, bark around the portion is removed, okay, and which is tied with moss or some moist soil, and later on it is covered with plastic paraffin tape, which after 6 to 8 weeks will give rise to roots. And once roots are formed, the portion is cut and this new plant is planted into new vase. Now, commonly used for plant species are citrus, rhododendron, etc. Next method is budding. Now, budding is described as pseudo grafting or sometimes called as bud grafting. Now, in this method, a single bud or the small portion of bark containing one or two buds from desired plant is taken and inserted in small slit of the bark of other plant, which we call as a rootstock. Next, both are tied together and care should be taken that it doesn't dry, which later unite and develop into composite plant. There are different types of budding. We have shield or T budding, then we have inverted T budding, then we have I budding, patch budding. Now the most common type of budding is T budding. Now in this T-shaped cut is given, wherein first we give horizontal cut and then we have vertical cut, and the bird is inserted in the horizontal cut. Next we have inverted T budding. It is just opposite of T budding, wherein first we give horizontal cut and then we give vertical cut, and the bird is inserted in horizontal cut. Next we have I budding. Here two horizontal cuts are given, and these two horizontal cuts are joined by one vertical cut which appear as a I shape. That's why it's called as I budding. Next we have patch budding. In this, a full patch of bark is removed with one or two buds, and this bud is inserted in a rootstock. Now commonly this method is used for plant species such as rose, fruit and various fruit crops. Budding is done when the rootstock is actively growing, that is either in spring or in rainfall. Now, what are the advantages of vegetative propagation? They contain genetic material of only one plant and can be easily incorporated. Plant species with desirable traits and the highest quality can be reproduced. It also helps to maintain consistent taste in the products made from the plants or the crop. Besides, plant also bypass immature seedling phase and therefore reach maturity faster. This can save time and resources of commercial grower. Disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Now, sometimes this vegetative propagation will lead to loss of biodiversity. It has impact on biodiversity of a particular area. Other disadvantage is if one clone or one plant species is susceptible to certain disease, entire field or entire area is infected. These are my references.